I can remember once at church, sitting at the back of the sanctuary, and there were a few different people sitting on both sides of the sanctuary, having a rip-roaring argument. Not a conversation, an argument. They were flat out yelling at each other. Do you want to know what the topic was? Homosexuality. You see, one side was trying to explain to the other that while you didn't have to tolerate the sin, you had to love the homosexual. And the other side just couldn't get past that you had to not tolerate the sin altogether and not tolerate the homosexual. I left after a couple of minutes because I just couldn't put up with the argument. But it made me wonder, what if a homosexual had been present to listen to that argument? What would they have thought? There's a shame culture in our church when it comes to homosexuality. When it comes to sin in general, sometimes. What I mean when I say that is that we look down on the sinner instead of loving them. We tell them that unless they get rid of the sin in their life, God isn't going to love them and they're not going to go to heaven. We make them feel shame about themselves in an effort to get them to change their lives. We tell them that they have to change their ways before they can come before Jesus. And that's just not true. Jesus invites us to come before Him in whatever state we're in. He takes us in whatever state we're in, and He starts the process of changing us. Because really, we can't change ourselves. We have to change this shame culture. Because there's a whole ministry field out in the world that our church is missing. It's the homosexual ministry field. Now there are some ministry fields, like I think it's Narrow Way Ministries. I'm not sure. I'd have to check that. But there's some ministries in the SDA church for homosexuals, but they're very narrow. We need a broader, loving ministry for these homosexuals. And that's not going to happen if we continue on this road with this shame culture aimed towards them. So, are you going to be the first one? No, you're not. It's going to start with me. I invite you to take the next step.